What up, YouTube? Today I want to work you guys through a new product that I've been working on recently. And it's a lightweight prototype I've been designing for Rode microphones. This is just spec work, but I recently bought a new product from them, the Streamer X, and I thought it could have some improvements to the software that comes along with the actual device. So let's go ahead and take a look at it and get into it. So this is the device. It's a video pass-through and audio pass-through unit that has XLR microphone inputs, gain control for the microphone, volume control for a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, plus a bunch of hot pads that can do some fun things like add sound effects and things of that nature. So it's a really cool all-in-one device. It's relatively new, and it's been pretty hot on YouTube because it gives you professional quality audio and pretty darn good video pass-through. And I was really excited to pick up this device and use it for my personal streaming. But I took a look at the software around it, and I found it to be a little bit cluttered, a little bit busy, and it wasn't really meeting my needs. So I just put my UX and UI hat on and decided to work on a lightweight prototype for it. And it took me about a week to really put together in my odd hours. And let's go ahead and walk through it. So first things first, with any good UX project, I wanted to work on, there I am. I wanted to work on the user stories. So I always start with user needs and what I want to get out of a product, and start thinking from there, from brainstorming and affinity mapping. And I was just a team of one this time, but I mapped out what are some of the things that I wanted to get out of my software and streaming experience. So as a streamer, obviously I want to adjust my video settings and have high quality picture. I want to mix my audio between multiple sources, including Discord and Spotify. And then I want to add cool effects to my stream so I can have a lot of fun. Then I want to adjust the levels of my hardware so it sounds clear. I want to mix my audio inputs so that I have dynamics mix. Some of these are a little bit overlapping. And then I need quick actions to adjust my scene in OBS so that I have a quick touch for things like changing scenes and changing channels. Then I need a quick visualization of my actions so I can configure and toggle them on my touchpad. Again, kind of overlapping. I want to see a visualization of all my audio connections so that I can have a representation of the setup. And then I want to add a camera view to its source so that I can make sure it's up and running in OBS. Customizing smart pads is another user story that we're focusing on. And then I want to customize which channels I have up and running in my app so that you have an organized mixer experience. Then I want to configure headphone output, things like that. And another little one is I want to clip highlights and save them for post later. So we didn't really get into that on this prototype, but I could definitely spend more time grinding out the micro interactions here. The main purpose of this was just to lay out the UI in an effective way. I sort of found that the UI was a bit cluttered, and I really wanted to clean it up for a smooth, clean experience with minimal inputs that I could use as a mixer alongside OBS. All right, so let's go ahead and look at what we got here. Sorry. So this is my version of the Rode Streamer X. What just flashed up on the screen was an example of what it will look like, and I'll get into that at the end. So obviously we have the different channels and the ability to slide channels here. Each one is color coded with a nice little gradient that I threw on and a nice little shadow to indicate that we have multiple channels that we can scroll through if we resize or reconfigure this desktop application. A nice scroll bar here at the bottom. And then we have the sound effects and quick actions bar that is adjustable on the right hand side. So first, I want to get into these nav controls. You have your master volume up here. You have a record, stop recording button at the top for recording your sessions. Then we have a quick toggle menu from the mixer levels to the microphone set, or the recording settings. Then, of course, we have a general menu that goes into our settings and the various categories therein. Other things we have here are the ability to add and adjust sound effects and things of that nature. All right, so let's take a look at some of these features here. First, we have the recording view, just with levels. Of course, I could keep on working on this levels visualization. It's only kind of simple. But this would basically be a list of all the recordings that you have to date, so you can go back and listen to them with their various settings, what platform, their formatting, the kilohertz frequency, their overall quality, and even things like loudness. And these are all settings I pulled from Rode Unify. Then we have a color slider. I was a bit too lazy to replicate this color slider from scratch, so I kind of pulled this one. But for a scrappy prototype, I think this works just fine. And obviously the ability to rename, delete, or export this. So just a quick, simple view, and this color slider changes the colors of each recording in your queue. All right, so if I want to go in here and add another sound effect, I go and I click here, then I have my list of what sound effect I want to add. I can color code the sound effect. As you see, some of these are color coded. I can either choose a file and browse, I can drag and drop, or I can even export a pre-existing sound and export that in some manner I see fit, like an MP4. Then this is the ability to hold the sound so that it has a setting where you just hold it to repeat the sound. Loop on, where pressing the button once will loop that audio over and over, or just a simple replay setting. So then you have the ability to edit or delete the sound effect that you have selected. So besides that, we have effects like a voice effect. The Streamer X software comes with a few interesting ones like a megaphone, a robot voice. Some of these are voice modulation and some of them are completely retoning your voice. I thought these were pretty interesting. And then you have the ability to do either a momentary or a latching style of a voice effect, meaning a quick one that is only a short period of time, or one that latches and holds on the stream input for a while. And you can sort of slide these in, you can drag and drop them in. You also have a mixer here. Again, color coding, momentary versus latching, and you have things like sensor where you can just do like, so you can quiet, so back channel allows you to quiet everything but your voice and mute yourself. Trash talk, I believe, gives you another different type of sound effect, and censor allows you to quiet out certain aspects of your audio, like just quieting Discord or things like that. And then you can also have a beep tone where you just sort of mute out, that beep 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 audio sound. And these are all things that I pulled from the app, but laid this out in a cohesive fashion. Then you have the ability to add a custom mixer action, upload a file. You can play any of these from here to view them, and then you can just clear it. So I could definitely continue to work on this, but for now it was just getting all these elements onto the screen. So that's the way that you can add and adjust sound effects in this according to the user stories that we were looking at. And then beyond this, we had system menu. One of the things that I was working on and had a lot of difficulty in was setting up all of my inputs and outputs. And this is something that if you have a dual PC setup, I would love to have a visualization of my setup that I can go in and adjust things on the fly. The current Rode Unify app just has these settings in line on the main view, and I thought it would be really nice to have a cool visualization where you can, change the input name of the Rode device. You have links to your various other devices and a view of sources. So, I could go to this drop down and click which output I want to have on my streaming PC or what output I want to have on my gaming PC and how the pass-through works. Because I did have a hard time just going into the system mixer itself and adjusting these settings. So this would be a really fun way to do a visualization and have control of your settings here in the Unify app itself. I think that for a lot of novice streamers that this is marketed at, this is going to be a really helpful interface for them. So this is something that I did spend a decent amount of time concepting. So going in from there, you just have basic preferences, recording, stereo, latency, close action, and tooltips. These are just your basic settings. Then, you also have the ability to open the system mixer itself. This just calls a action that would open up what your system mixer looks like and allows you to work from there. Channel assignment. This is another fun menu item. So this is how you assign your mixer channels. So I could go in here and I could add by either dragging or clicking on browser and adding a browser channel to my Unify app. So this is how you would then change and adjust your different channel settings. Of course, we have firmware for this thing. You need to make sure your firmware is always up to date as these features change over time. So it's important to have the available firmware updates as well. And then of course you have an about section with version history as well. So this is the Rode app that I sort of cleaned up and evolved. I didn't really jump too far in the product design from where the current design is. This is a evolution of that design that just cleans things up and simplifies it a little more. I mean, the Rode X, Streamer X is a very minimal but basic but highly functional device, and I wanted the software to sort of represent that same ethos as opposed to being too cluttered. So again, for reference, this is what the original main view looks like. It has sort of stream quality settings here at the top, headphone settings down here, your different inputs and outputs are all here in the drop down. And honestly, I found these rather confusing and difficult to use when I was using the app. So putting them into a menu section, I even reduced these elements here because this is just sort of some other unnecessary settings in the device. So I was able to minimize that as well and sort of clean things up to the point where you have this a little bit cleaner, a few less gradients, and a bit more focus on just the basic content itself. So there you have it, folks. This is my evolution of the Rode X, Streamer X software, the Rode Unify software. I hope you like it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with a new demo. Take care.